I'll tell you what horror movie plot twist totally ruined the movie, but it only ruined the movie in the sense of I should have goddamn known better when I went in to see it and not expect it to be anything other than completely eye-rollingly disappointed. The Village! Because, like, right, M. Night Shyamalan, fool me once, shame on me. Fool me every single time you get to write a screenplay, shame on you, mate. Because I went in to see The Village and I was like, ooh, this is a good premise. There's demons and there's a blind girl and I don't really know what's going on. And something's unsettling, something sinister about all of this. The twist, I'm sure, is going to elevate this to new stakes and increase the threat and the danger and the tension and all of that. Not just be, yeah, you see, it's just a load of weirdos who live in a forest because they find mobile phones a bit much. Like, where it just transpires that they're just a little national park and they're all segregated off because they didn't like modern life, and then the demons are actually just like the village moderators who try and scare you from finding a wall where you might hear a car driving past. Like, my God, he must have sat up for weeks going, this needs a twist. This needs a twisty, that's a twisty twisteroo. And the best thing he came up with was, actually, it was Earth all along. Not even good Earth, just like, I think it's Wisconsin or something. No, terrible. And then as soon as that happened, I was annoyed at myself. And resentful that £15 of my money had gone into ticket, hot dog, popcorn, and giant soda.
M. Night Shyamalan is a divisive man. I've loved some of his movies. I love Signs. I was going to say movies plural. I liked Signs. Split was all right. But he's a man who over time became known for hanging everything on one big plot twist. And I remember going to see The Happening, 2007's The Happening, in the cinema, because I was like, if I'm going to go see one of these movies, I want to be taken on this ride and then inverted at the end. And oh my God, that was a genius twist and whatever. Going to see The Happening, that whole movie is, Mark Wahlberg given some of the worst acting in his career, pretty much everybody is. That whole movie is a bunch of people being beset by, it's kind of like angry wind. It's just sort of like the environment itself, or the atmosphere is sort of chasing people down and they keep going crazy. The whole premise is that people keep going insane and no one knows why. Is it because of a person doing this? Is someone mind controlling them or whatever? And the big twist in that is that nature's doing it. It is just the wind. The wind has had enough of us, and all the plants have too. And it's this idea, which is a cool idea on paper, that Earth and all the natural resources are sick of being mined and sick of being taken advantage of by this race of people on their surface that they never spawned in the first place. There's a cool idea there that the Earth itself gets sick of us and tries to get rid of us, but it's not handled with any remote sort of pathos or weight or payoff or anything in the movie. It's just Mark Wahlberg, sort of like going through all like, hey, okay, we'll figure it out. And then the big reveal is that it was the plants, it was the wind, it was the Earth itself being, tired of us. But like I said, it's the way that it's done. I guess the twist itself could have been done better, but the way that it's done in The Happening, on top of everything else, all the other pile of schlock that makes up that movie, it just made me go, F this, F M. Night Shyamalan. I literally remember thinking, I'm never trusting that guy again. I'm never trusting that idea of seeing a movie because it's an M. Night Shyamalan movie again. And I've got to hinge all of that on the angry wind from The Happening.
Okay, so a few years ago, there was this horror movie that I really wanted to like called Goodnight Mommy, and I did the first time through because it has some really well-constructed scares, it's quite tense, it has some striking visuals and a killer ending, but it does have one major issue with it, and that's a central twist. So I'll just back up and explain the general plot. It's about a mum coming home after an accident, and she's had facial reconstructive surgery, and she's coming home with a bunch of bandages on her face, and the kids are kind of worried that the person who's returned to them isn't their mother, and they constantly accuse her of not being their real mum. And the central mystery is, is she someone else? Has she been possessed? Has she been changed? Or is this actually just who she says she is? And the kids are a bit kind of strange. And to be fair, you can kind of see why they would think that she's not their mum, because she's a bit of a dick to them. She locks them in their room. She's just kind of horrible, but then they're also dicks and pretty vile to her as well. So you're constantly guessing. And then at the end, the film reveals that actually she's okay, and the thing that's been the issue is that one of the children has actually been dead the whole time. They also died in an accident, one of the boys. And the person that you've been following has been imagining their brother being with them this whole time and kind of whispering in their ear or whatever. And at the time, I thought this was so obvious that it wasn't even supposed to be a twist. It wasn't until reading reviews and talking to other people I recommended it to that I realized that, yes, this was played straight and you were supposed to buy into the fact that there really were two people. But that was mind-blowing to me because at the time, I just thought it was so obvious. Like, it's so heavy-handed with its foreshadowing and with its suggestion that something is off with one of the boys and one of them is probably dead, that I thought, nah, this is not supposed to be a twist. You're supposed to know all the way through, and it's totally fine that you know all the way through. It doesn't undermine the power of it. But then, because everyone kept saying this, I went back to watch it again. And sure enough, you go back through it and you realize that, yep, this is supposed to be the big reveal of the film that everything is kind of built towards, that you probably know 10 minutes in. So I used to recommend this movie all the time to anyone because I thought it was really good. But now I barely recommend it to anyone because that twist and the way it is so poorly handled just does take you out of the film for an annoying reason, because it could have just made it more obvious or treated it less as a twist, and the film would have been good. But because it puts it front and center and it's like, hey, bet you didn't see this coming. It's like, come on, man, I did see it coming. And you have so many better ideas lurking in the background.
Right, so a twist that ruined the movie for me was Pet Sematary 2019's change up of, instead of it being Gage, the youngest son that dies, it is Ellie instead, who's like an older child. And obviously in both these films, from the 2019 one and the older 80s movie, the child gets buried in the pet cemetery and comes back wrong, and sometimes things are better off buried, you know, the famous catch line, that's definitely it. But yeah, they changed it up to Ellie instead. Now, I don't begrudge them this at all, because they absolutely should have changed something up if they're remaking it. You don't want to see the same thing again. But this twist was totally given away in all the marketing, so you already know what you're going in for before you actually get there. And everything was then just hitting trailer beats and not really giving me anything that I felt was new or fresh enough compared to the old one to warrant its existence. I don't think it's a terrible movie. I don't think it's the worst movie I've ever seen or anything. I think they do a good job with what they're given, but it very much feels like what they are given. I don't know if that's kind of a symptom of it being a trailer that has ruined the twist, and then therefore the twist is ruined and the movie is ruined by its reliance on this twist that you already know. But I don't know, the whole experience for me when Ellie died, I was like, okay, cool, and it was just like hitting beats after that. Like, I thought there would be more to it, more to the twist, more to offer than just this one change up. So yeah, I feel like that was kind of spoiled for me because I didn't get enough from it. I didn't get enough weirdness. I wanted the Wendigo to be in there. I wanted that to be the twist. That's the real problem here. I wanted the Wendigo to be a big part of this movie. If they were redoing it, I thought it'd be a much bigger part, and it was kind of in there. There's a couple of hints that it's there, but that is what I wanted the twist to be. So maybe that's the truth, isn't it? It's just not the twist I wanted, so it ruined the movie that way. But no, I think having Ellie in there is it was a good idea, but just not followed through on enough to make a good, enjoyable movie for me. So yeah, you know, it's not a great justified reason. It's a personal one, so accept a little bit of subjectivity on this. But yeah, Pet Sematary 2019, I don't think its twist helped it as much as maybe they thought it would originally.
So a horror movie plot twist that really ruined the movie for me has to be The Village, because the movie is so enjoyable up until that point, and it's so annoying because the whole time you're watching this movie you think it's taking place in like the 19th century, and that maybe they're being, you know, cursed by these evil creatures, maybe like a witch or a demon or something, and you just want to find out what it is that's causing this. You know, how are they going to survive this? Is there going to be a way that they can, you know, live a happy life without having to fight off these demonic forces? And then to basically find out from M. Night Shyamalan himself, doing a little cameo appearance, that no, this actually is taking place in modern day, and that this Edward Walker guy is just beyond rich and has started his own little village inside like a nature preserve and has paid off like the government and made it like a no-fly zone and stuff. It just makes no sense. It's just so convoluted to just sort of just be like, how rich is this guy? How rich is this guy to not only put an entire village hidden away in a nature preserve and be able to sort of pay off like the local government, but also like be able to say like, no, it can't be like it's a no-fly zone, and then like every president that there has been throughout that time is just okay with that. Like people are just okay with that apparently, you know, and like you just start asking yourself questions as in like, you know, has no one ever tried to escape before? And the whole reason that the blind girl, which I cannot remember her name, finds out that the place is living in modern day is because she is asked to venture out to get medicine for her partner or her kind of partner, boyfriend, love interest who is sick, and they can only get medicine from like the outside world. So you're telling me that they've never ventured to the outside world? And if they have, who do they send? Do they send someone that's in the know? How do they explain that? Do they explain, you know, it just makes no sense, and it just completely ruined an otherwise great horror movie in just kind of making it seem like it just didn't have any point of being anyway. Like, you know, it's not a demonic force or evil witches or anything like that. It's just like, no, we made it all up. You know, none of it is real. So sorry.